And Winfred couldn't help but be tempted by the offer. From what he had heard, commoners were free to date and had plenty to see and hear. It looked like Binka might be able to offer him some advice. Oh really? Please? Ah. Not now, later. It's economics class soon. He accepted their offer with a cheerful voice, feeling as if he had won 1,000 armies. Then he retrieved his homework from the papers piled on his desk, cradled it in his arms, and left the room. It was a light step, as if he were walking on clouds. And Binka, left alone, smiled satisfied as she watched Winfred's back. However, that smile was a little different from the innocent one he had shown in front of the crown prince. It was a sinister smile, as if it had some other hidden purpose. Ophelia was contemplating a painting in the dark, leaning on a small lamp. It was a portrait of his daughter, painted by Winfred. The secret space hidden behind the wall of the Duke's bedroom was good because it was protected from light, but it was not a good place to store paintings as it was not well ventilated. But this painting was not meant to be seen by others. For the safety of his daughter, whom he could now only see through the paintings, he had no choice but to hang it in that narrow, damp space and admire it. Our beautiful daughter. She looked at the painting with tears in her eyes and carefully reached out to touch it, gently caressing her daughter's cheek. But the painting didn't convey Isla's soft, smooth skin or her warmth. Only the rough texture of the canvas was felt. At that unknown sensation, tears finally welled up in Ophelia's eyes. The reason he was crying in that small space was because his daughter had appeared in his dream the night before. It wasn't unusual for Isla to appear in his dreams. Since she lost her daughter, she appeared to him in dreams every night. But yesterday's dream was a little different. Isla, who always appeared as if time had stopped, just like then. Yesterday, he appeared looking the same as this photo, having grown a lot. No, she looked a little more adult than in this photo, that is, she looked like the current girl, and she looked at Ophelia silently with sad eyes, as if she wanted to tell her something, and then left quietly. There had to be a reason why his daughter appeared to him like that in the dream. He looked at the portrait of his daughter, whom he longed for even in his dreams, for a long moment before taking something resembling a small hand mirror from his pocket. It was a magical tool that allowed him to communicate with Candace, a dear friend who had traveled to a faraway country to find Isla. Activating the communication port, a signal was transmitted for a while, and Candace's face appeared where his had been. "Hey, friend. Why have you contacted me for so long?" The happy friend smiled, showing her teeth, and then opened her eyes wide as she saw the sadness on his face. "Did you cry? What's wrong with your face?" "No, I didn't cry." Ophelia told a single lie. His red eyes and nose, and hoarse voice, were clearly those of someone who had just cried uncontrollably. And her dear friend fell for her lies. Even the closest friends are sometimes reluctant to reveal their pain. "Well, why? Where are you now? Are you still in the kingdom of Inselkuf?" "Oh, yes. Looking at the map, I thought it was just a small country, but when I looked inside, it was bigger than I thought." Candace grimaced. "I didn't know it would be so difficult." Then, she heard an unknown male voice next to her. "Oh, sister. A booger. How sad to see a country with only snot ears. Bernie, get out of here. We're talking." And seeing that, Ophelia giggled. Every time she shed tears thinking about Isla, strangely enough, Candace made her smile. "Who is it?" A subordinate appeared by chance. Candace growled with a fresh expression. "What the hell happened?" Ophelia smiled slightly and explained the reason why she had contacted her. "Candace, there it is. Now. I think we can stop searching." "That? What does that mean?" He hadn't even found Isla, much less been close to her, and now he could stop looking for her. It was a strange thought. "Have you found it yet?" No, it's not that. In response to her friend's question, Ophelia silently collected her thoughts, as she had no idea how to explain this. Somehow. I don't think it's there. Curiously, from the moment she woke up, Ophelia had a premonition that Isla had already returned to the Empire. Sometimes I had this very clear premonition. A long time ago, when she was sent to the Empire as a researcher at the Magic Academy, it was the same. Leaving his beloved hometown, he had a strange premonition that he would never return there. That premonition was correct, and it really happened. Now that he had reconciled with his family, he might visit his hometown one day, but it would never be the same. Now, this palace empire was their home. Is that premonition again? Candace sighed, her voice a little muffled, knowing that Ophelia's premonitions were sometimes surprisingly accurate. The fact that he had come to this distant land and had to return without finding Isla was discouraging. Ophelia wasn't always right, but she was always right when she spoke so confidently about things that worried her. Your premonition is a premonition, because it is the perfect time for him to return to the Empire. Candace sighed and nodded. When Bernie recently heard from a fellow intelligence officer that the Sakim had invaded the Empire and that a war was coming, that was the first thing that came to mind. Byron could take advantage of this gap to enter the Empire. Yes, if that's what you mean, well, it's time to go back. Candace already thought that she should return soon. Because in her native country people were looking forward to her. When Candace said she would, Ophelia thanked her several times before hanging up. He thought it was time to go out, because if he stayed in the secret space for too long, he would arouse suspicion. He looked again at the portrait of his daughter. And, just like when he woke up that morning, he felt a strange and strong premonition. He sensed that he wouldn't have much time left to reunite with Isla. Oh, did you hear that? That's what happened. Candace, who had pocketed a handheld mirror-like communication device, looked at Bernie. He looked at her with a sad expression, frowning. Are you really going to come back, sister? They had become close friends traveling through the Inselkov kingdom in search of Isla, so it was quite unfortunate that they were separated like this. Yes, I also have a main job. In fact, he had been away for too long. Your main job? Now that I think about it, I don't even know what you do. Bernie's already grim expression grew even sadder. He looked like a lost puppy. Yes, haha. Candace smiled awkwardly and scratched her head. At first, he had not revealed his identity to a stranger, fearing that it would be risky, but after becoming friends, he could not find a time to talk. Although she wasn't sure, Bernie seemed to believe that Candace worked in a similar industry to hers. If I said to him, actually, I am the president of the Magic Council of the Timor Republic, he would surely take it back. Excuse me, sister. By any chance, can I go with you? But then Bernie, with bright eyes, made this suggestion. Follow me? Me? You know what kind of person I am, and you're going to turn your back on your homeland. When Candace tried to calm him down, never imagining that he would follow her and abandon Inselkov, Bernie's jaw dropped and he muttered discontentedly, what could a newcomer like me call home? I have no family, and although the kingdom of Inselkov is my home, I have nowhere to hold on. At that answer, Candace reflected for a moment. In fact, during their time together, he had benefited greatly from her kindness and her ability to inform herself. It wouldn't hurt to take advantage of its virtues upon returning to the Timor Republic. Of course, unlike before, he would have to collect information only in legal areas and start from scratch in a foreign country with no acquaintances or sources. Judging from his past experiences, he seemed like a talented person capable of gathering information among monkeys even if he was thrown onto a desert island. So wouldn't it be possible to adapt well in a foreign country you'd never been to? Oh really? Well, I guess so, right? When Candace said that, adjusting her glasses, Bernie seemed quite moved. He said he had finally met a superior who really recognized his abilities. And Candace smiled sinisterly at Bernie, promising to get all the information she could out of him.